This is my hardcore world, and although we have some amazing farms and builds, my mine still looks like this. So today, we're going to fix that by building the perfect mine that has 3 separate mine shafts for different levels underground, a huge storage room, and even a chest minecart unloading station. So enough talking, let's get started. So yes, today's project will be to overhaul our mine over there because honestly, it is long overdue for that. I mean, just look at what I've been using so far. It's really not a convenient way to mine. So today I want to revamp our entire mine and even add a beacon, which does take us to our first task of the episode, which will be to go get all the wither skulls we'll need to fight a wither. This does mean we'll have to go back to the nether fortress we found last episode and get a bunch of wither skeleton heads. So to prepare for this, I'm going to farm up a bunch of my crops and do a bunch of tradings to get all the enchantments I'll need. I mainly just want to get protection 4 in all of my armor, and then I'll probably get a looting 3 and smite 5 sword, since the smite enchantment will work better against the skeletons. So I have to get to work as I have a lot of trading to do, but I'll see you after. Alright, so I think we finished up all of our trading, and if we look inside this chest, we can see that we have almost 7 stacks of emeralds, which I think should be plenty for all the enchantments we need. I do have a few books left over from last episode, which will definitely help when we enchant our gear. So now we can go ahead and craft up some books and we can get to trading. And so I've done the math, and to get protection 4 on the rest of our armor, except for the boots, I'm going to need 20 protection 1 books, which is kind of a lot. That's 200 emeralds. But thankfully we traded for a lot of emeralds, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'm hoping the trade doesn't get maxed out though, which I think might happen. Oh, no way. I think we're 1 book short. We are 1 protection 1 book short of getting all protection 4 in our gear. But no worries, I will make sure we get that finished up before we head into the nether. For now though, we can use our remaining emeralds and trade for the last few books we need. Alright, so we now have a full inventory of enchanted books. I kind of forgot about the fact that combining protection 1 books is going to take a lot of experience. So I might have to jump back and forth from trading with the villagers and combining the books. But anyways, we can get started on this and hopefully we'll have a nice new set of gear soon. Alright, so I've upgraded all of my gear, and it's a bit of a bittersweet moment because yes, it's good to have upgraded gear, but that does mean that we have to go back into the nether now. And yes, this time I am bringing shields because last time I went in here I forgot, and I can't believe I did that. That could have been horrible. But I guess there's nothing else to do besides go back into the nether and find that nether fortress. Oh, and you know what? I just realized I don't actually have any gold armor on me. But I think I'm just going to continue and chance it because I think I should be able to take out a few piglins here and there. And I think I say this every single time I come into the nether, but coming here in hardcore mode is just never fun. It never gets easier, honestly. Even with full protection diamond gear, I am just still so scared of this place. But we'll carry on here and get back to the nether fortress we found last episode. Wow, that was definitely a lot harder to find than I remember, but we are back. And now it is time to kill a bunch of those little guys over there, the wither skeletons. And hopefully it goes just as smooth as the blazes. Because last time we were here, all we did was kill some blazes and that went really well. So I'm hoping we can repeat that. Now you can call me a wimp all you want, but I will be using this method to kill the wither skeletons. Since they are taller than 2 blocks, you can just put a block above here and they aren't able to get you. And honestly, I'm way too scared to lose my world, so I will definitely be doing that for most of the skeletons. I'm so glad I made this smite sword because I think I can pretty much one-shot them. It's a 2-shot without jumping, which is pretty good. So yeah, this sword is definitely nice to have. Oh, let's go! We got our first skull already. That was pretty quick. Nice. I think we've only killed like 8 of these skeletons, so that is really awesome to get one so soon. Oh, let's go. Skull number 2. Now we just need 1 more. Oh, there we go. Oh, we finally got the skeleton skulls. Now that we have all 3 wither skeleton skulls, we can finally head out of here and get back home. That definitely might be easier said than done, considering we have about 25 blazes here and a bunch of skeletons blocking our path. Well, we're back, and this looks so weird on me. Yes, so we're back from the nether in one piece, and that went pretty smooth as well. I don't know what's been going on, but my recent trips to the nether have been going really well. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it there. But anyways, now that we're back, I think we can go ahead and spawn the wither, and I think this is a good open area right here, and it should give us a lot of space to work with. So I'll just build it up here, and just kidding. I hope I tricked some of you there. After all, it is Halloween time, so that'll be my trick for this year. But in all seriousness though, I am going to go to my mine to spawn the wither, and I'm going to use what I'm going to call the strip mine method. I don't know if that's the actual name for it, but pretty much all you have to do is make a very long strip mine and then spawn the wither at the end of it. And I'm going to do this at diamond level just in case we uncover some diamonds while we fight it. But just to be safe, I'm going to build this out maybe 100 blocks, maybe 200 just to be safe, and then we can spawn in the wither. Alright, so we got the wither pretty much built up here, and unfortunately I have nothing to say to stall this moment, so really we just have to go for it. Okay, it's been a long time since I fought the wither, so I'm a little nervous, and I know we should be able to use our bow for the first bit. So now that it's down to half health, we have to go in with our sword, and this is gonna be the scary part. Oh, okay, we did it. And there is our nether star. Oh, that is nice. Look at it glistening there in the dark. That is beautiful. Oh, nice, and we got some diamonds from that too. Grab those. All right, well, I don't think I needed a tunnel this long because that was really only like 20 blocks of damage. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. So now that we have our wither star, we can head back to the surface, grab some obsidian from the nearby lava lake, and craft our beacon. Well, now that we have our beacon, we need a block to build the base of it with, and I think I'm going to use iron, obviously because of this amazing iron farm here. And I'm hoping we've had enough iron over the past few episodes to make a beacon with. Oh yeah, oh, there's a poor skeleton that died in here, but that should be plenty of iron. Alright, so I've got 4.5 stacks of iron blocks, which I know is definitely more than we need for a beacon, but I just want to make sure I don't have to come back and get more materials. And the last thing I want to do before setting up the beacon is head back to our villager cathedral and make sure we get a brand new efficiency 5 diamond pickaxe. Now thankfully, we already had some spare books from when we made the cathedral, so all we had to buy was 2 unbreaking 2 books and 1 efficiency 4 book. And so now we could combine the 2 efficiency 4 books to make efficiency 5, combine the 2 unbreaking 2 books to get unbreaking 3, and add all of those enchantments onto our pickaxe. Alright, so we finally enchanted our god pickaxe, which means we can come up to our trophy room and add our 2 other diamond pickaxes here. And I know it's been a long time since we've been up here, but once you get past iron, you kind of don't really lose much gear. So we can go ahead and put our fortune pickaxe and our silk touch pickaxe in here, and we can list what they are. And there we go, we finally have some more items to our trophy room. So with that done, I think it's finally time we head over to our mines and get to work on the project. First things first, I do want to set up the beacon before we get started. So I think I'll just flatten out a bit of land here and put in our beacon. There it is, our first beacon light. And of course we're going to go with haste 2 so we can get that insta-mine on the stone. And let me tell you, the confidence that this beacon gives me is just crazy. I feel so much more protected even though I know it's still only on just haste and actually will do nothing to keep us alive. I just do feel a lot more confident. Anyways, I just want to quickly test the power of this beacon, so let's go down here to stone level and just start mining. Oh yeah, that is nice. Oh, this beacon is going to be so nice to have. And just like that, we almost got 2 stacks of stone. Wow, that's going to make building my project so much easier. So I think that's enough talking about the beacon. Let's get started on today's project. Well, it wouldn't be a Minecraft project if you didn't have to terraform. So of course, the first thing I did was prepare the nearby land and smoothed it out. During this, I also planned out a little cliff piece that I thought would frame this area nicely. It was then on to the actual mine, where I can now talk about my plans for this build. I wanted it to look like the residents of our city have stripped this mountain of dirt and started mining for their resources. So the first step in this transformation was to dig up all of the dirt, exposing the stone underneath. I wanted to try and keep a decent amount of the natural stone formations, but I also carved it out to look a little bit like they've already mined there and settled here for a bit. So overall, this mine will have 3 layers, the first 2 being completed levels with the cleaner look, and the top is meant to be where the miners are still working on digging into the mountain. I then got to work on carving in some stairwells into the rock, and added some other details, like these loose rock formations in the corners. For the actual mineshaft tunnels, I started to design some support beams, and ended up with this design which I really liked. The new shelf blocks they added to the game are honestly amazing, definitely a top tier block. I then made slightly smaller versions of these supports, and added 3 more around the mine, each having a unique purpose. To finish the bottom layer, I went around removing some pieces of stone to make the whole shape a bit more interesting, and also added some andesite and cobblestone for texture. I then just copied these details over to the other layers, which totally transformed the whole look of the mine. Before, it looked very bland and boring, but now, it looks like this. Definitely a huge upgrade. Now that the mine was pretty much complete, we needed to get to work on the ground in front of it. So for this, I kind of worked in multiple layers to give it a nice gradient. So first was a layer of stone and a bit of andesite. The next layer was mostly andesite with some stone and gravel. For the third layer, I just added a bit of cobblestone, and then the rest was mostly cobblestone with some andesite and gravel. After fading it off with some grass, this stony ground looked amazing and really brought the whole mining area together. With the ground done, we can now add some finishing details, like the storage pile, a few ore piles, some push carts to transport the resources, and lastly this tiny crane, which I am super proud of and I think looks great. But that brings us to the final step, and that is connecting the mine to our city. So first, I started building a simple stone bridge, textured with andesite and cobblestone. I did want to keep it small and simple, to make sure it doesn't take away from the view of the mine. Next was the path, which I just continued the same path design from our city, using dirt path blocks, packed mud, and mud bricks. But with the path in, that was the exterior of the mine complete. Alright, we are back, and I'm hoping that building wasn't too overwhelming for you. But yes, like I said, it's time to get started on the interior of our mine here. And that does mean getting started on the mine shafts and the storage room. But I think the first mine shaft I want to get started on is actually up at the top here, which will be our zombie spawner mine shaft. And the reason I want to get started on this one first is because obviously with our beacon over there, we have the insta-mine effect, which is great and all, but of course that means our tools break a lot faster, and with mending we'll need a good source of XP to repair them. And so I think building this one first will definitely help with the rest of the project, since we'll have a faster way to get our XP and repair our tools. But for this one, I think I'm going to do it similar to the cathedral, where I kind of talk through my process on designing the interior. First things first, I actually need to grab some materials because I didn't bring a single building block up with me. And I think what I'm going to do is have some mineshaft support structures every 5 blocks or so. And for these, I don't want them to encroach too much on the mine rail, so I'm not going to put anything here, but at the top I think we can do some supportive bits. And I think I'm probably just going to stick with the classic archway, that being stairs into the shelves and then into the trapdoors. But at the top, I think I'm just going to put stripped logs instead of trapdoors there. And then for these sidewalls, I think I'm going to go in with stairs on the bottom, with some stairs on the top as well. And then I think to break it up a bit, I'm just going to do kind of a mix between the shelves and the trapdoors there, just to give it some variety. And so now that that's done, I think I'm going to go around and texture some of the stone a bit because it's looking a little bland at the moment. And then we'll just stick a lantern here on the fence. And I think this is a pretty good start. Now, I think I changed my mind on the whole design of this tunnel. I don't think I want the same repeating patterns over and over again, because I think that would just look a little too repetitive. So what I think I'm going to do is have more of these structured segments near the top. And then as we work our way down the tunnel, it'll get less and less structured. So it's kind of hard to show you what I mean until we build it, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of my idea. Anyways, I think I'm going to build out one more flat segment and then we can start heading down. I guess my beacon doesn't reach this far. Okay, we'll have to move that over real quick. There we go. That's much better. Alright, and I think that's looking pretty good there. Especially from outside, that's looking really cool so far. So I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm going to do here. I'm going to start heading down towards the zombie spawner and building out the rest of our mineshaft. we are back from building the mineshaft tunnel, and I'm so excited to show you all the stuff we did. And there's no better way to show you than to take a tour, and obviously we have this first part here that we built earlier. And so a lot of it is pretty similar, but there's just a lot of detail to look at when you go down. So as you go down here, we can see all the loose rubble and all the loose rocks that will pass. And then at the bottom here, we have this corner here, and this looks so cool. I love these corners with the loose rocks there. It just looks so nice. And as we keep going down, we find this cave here, which I built this little wooden bridge on, and I tried to make it look a little rickety. So I hope it did a good job there. And you get a nice view of this lava fall here. This looks super awesome. Anyways, as you cross the bridge, you keep going down further using the same details as up there. We'll hit another corner here using the same details as before. And at the bottom here, of course, is our zombie spawner in there. And to block off the minecart, I kind of made it look like the tunnel collapsed here. Pretty simple design, but it honestly looks really good. And yet down here is our same old zombie spawner as before. And I didn't really point it out, but the support beams get a lot more worn down as we go down further into the tunnel, which I think looks super cool. So now that we have our first mineshaft done, I think we can move on to the next part of our mine project, which will be the storage room. Now, I could continue with the other two mineshafts to where they're going to end up. However, we have a bit of a storage issue. I've collected so many blocks during this project, and I'm going to need a place to put all these materials, so I think we should get started on our storage room. Alright, so I've just gone ahead and dug out a small space here. Now, since this is just a storage room for like mine type items, it doesn't need to be huge, so I think this should be plenty of space. So I've gone ahead and marked out 7 segments for the storage area. These 4 here will actually just be for the chests. And then the other 3 are for like either decorations or furnaces or maybe even a lava farm. I haven't really decided yet. So I think I'll just design one segment with you guys and then I'll copy that design over to the other 7. And I bet you couldn't have guessed I'm going to use the same spruce trapdoor and shelf design that I've been using everywhere else. Because I mean, how could you not use it? I'm just, it's so good and I'm so glad they added these shelves to the game. Well, that didn't take too long, but I think we have our design here. It's just a pretty simple arch. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that design everywhere else and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got all of our segments done. So now it's on to the roof design. And for this, I'm definitely thinking I want to use a lot of stripped logs. And I think something like this is a good start. And then I just threw in a few stairs, slabs, and trapdoors. And we've got this design here, which I think is pretty good. It's nice and cozy and definitely looks supportive. Alright, so we have all the roof in now, and this is looking super nice. And now all we have to do is add in all of our chests and the other items in here, so let's get to work. Alright, we are back from building our storage room, and here it is. It's looking amazing. So let's take a quick tour. First here we have this kind of automatic, kind of not really automatic furnace array. Yes, it kind of looks weird, but I also kind of like it. It kind of adds like a nice little, I don't know, dwarf kind of vibe. I'm not sure, like something like they just stuck it in the wall, but it works, you know? Anyways, I like it. Moving on, we have our storage chests, which all 4 sections hold about 300,000 items, which I think is definitely good for now, especially when we get shulker boxes. This will be a lot better. But on this side, we have all of the blocks you'd expect to see underground. And then on this side, we have all of the minerals that you'd be able to find. And lastly, at the end here, which I think is definitely my favorite part, is our lava farm here. And it's a really simple thing. You just have a bunch of dripstone here with lava above it, and it just drips down into the cauldron here. But this is the fuel source I want to use for our furnaces here, because it's farmable, renewable, and it's really easy to get. So that is our storage area complete. Now that that's done, all we have to do is finish up the other 2 mine shafts and add a few more decorations. Alright, we are back from building the other 2 mineshafts, so now I can show you what we did. So for the first one, this one will actually go down to diamond level. Most of this is still kind of the same up on the stone level, but just in case you were curious how I did the deep slate level, here it is. I pretty much just went in with a bunch of cobbled deep slate stairs and slabs and added a bunch of this texture. I don't really have a lot of other blocks that would work well here, so I really just went in with these. And honestly, I think it's pretty good. I think it adds enough variety to the shape that it definitely looks good. Anyways, back up at the top, we can go through the other mineshaft I built, which will just be the stone level, so I can mine a bunch of stone and cobble for my projects. So this one is really short. I mean, I didn't need it to go that far down into the mountain, and so I just used some stairs and some other slabs and stuff to give it some detail. So yeah, no minecart in this one, but I think I can walk up about 10 stairs. I don't think that should be a problem. So now that we've done all the work on the mineshafts, we can get started on a bit of redstone I want to do. And it will also involve some tripwire hooks, which I think is really cool. So on a server with my friend, I actually developed this way to kind of separate the minecarts from the chest minecarts. And it's funny, this idea actually came to me when I was sleeping. But pretty much how it works is if you look here, you can see that the chest minecart will pass under the tripwire no problem. But if you are a player sitting in the minecart, you will activate the tripwire. So pretty much how we would use this is if you send a chest minecart up the rail, it won't activate the tripwire and it can be sent to kind of an unloading station. But if you're coming up the rail yourself, you'll go onto the regular track. And so I'm thinking we can have all of the chest minecarts come out of this section here, just to make unloading all the materials I gather in the mines a lot easier. And just for a quick overview of how this actually works, if you power this rail here, instead of it going that way, the minecarts will come up and go here first. And so all I'm really doing is timing the tripwire up with the powering of this rail. So it's a little complicated to explain, but pretty much all I'm going to do is have a redstone torch under this block. But since this rail is facing how we want it to when we hit the tripwire, we need to invert this signal here, which we can just do by powering this repeater. And then now if we put a repeater into this block here, it should turn this torch off when we hit the tripwire, which then will turn this torch back on, thus powering the rail how we want. So if we do a quick test, we can see when we run into the tripwire, it'll power the rail there. So there's a chance this timing doesn't work properly, so I think we'll just give it a test. All right, that worked perfectly first try. I'm quite shocked. And then we'll also just test the minecart chest. Perfect, there we go. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now all we got to do is close this back up, and that should be the full system working. I didn't have to mess with the repeaters at all, which is really awesome. The timing just happened to work perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is carry this rail into our storage room and then also repeat this entire design onto the other mineshaft. Okay, so I realized we don't actually need this design on the other mineshaft since this is the only one where we'll really be getting a lot of blocks. But like you saw earlier, if we go on the minecart ourselves, we'll go right to the unloading station. But if we send minecart chests up, they'll take a turn there and go into our storage room. And just to show you what that looks like, here it is. It's a little funny how they stack up on each other here, but it gets the job done for sure. So yeah, I think that is our minecart unloading station complete, which just leaves us with a few more decorations to add. And the first of those decorations are these two barrels containing a bunch of different ores and rocks. Next to them, I then added these two stone piles, meant to look like a bunch of loose stone and rocks. And lastly, the terrain above the kind of cliff wall wasn't really looking too good, so I did some terraforming to tie it in better with the surrounding terrain. With the finishing touches done, I think we can finally call the entire mine complete. Alright, well we are fully completed with the mine, and I have to say it looks amazing. I love this build so much. I definitely want you all to let me know what your favorite part of this build is. I think mine is overhanging dirt at the top. It's such a simple detail, but it really looks cool. Anyways, before we end off the episode, I do need to head back to our starter area to do a few more things. Last episode, I know I asked you all for names on the cathedral, but I also asked for names on our iron farm 2 episodes ago, which I never actually named. I'm sorry, last episode I just got so busy and so focused on finishing the episode that I forgot to name the castle. But don't you worry, we are gonna name these 2 buildings right now. And I think I'll name the cathedral first. And for the cathedral, I really love the name, the Hall of the Holy Deal. It's a bit of a longer name, but I really love how it ties together the villager aspect and also the kind of religious cathedral aspect of the build. And now it's time to come over to the Iron Farm Castle and name this build. And for this one, I really love the Iron Inferno. And just like the cathedral's name, it gives you a bit of an overview of what to expect in the build. That being, of course, iron golems burning to death in the lava. Anyways, with both of those builds named, I think that'll be the end for this episode. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.